fifth person wanted in connection with the murder of Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolios is finally in custody.
He was found right here in Jacksonville. Police had been looking for Davion Murphy for more than 6 months since the shooting happened.
He's scheduled to face a judge at 1 and is charged with first-degree.
So the last guy involved in Foolio's hit has been finally caught. More than 6 months later, Davion Murphy is finally ready for trial and a possible prison time, bringing what has been a very contentious shooting to an end.
Police had been looking for him for over 6 months. News 4 Jax reporter Elisa Hatcher was there for his first appearance in court.
In fact, he's already been to court, and it was considered so serious that he denied bail.
We're just leaving Murphy's first court appearance where the judge says he's charged with a first-degree, 4 first-degree attempts among other charges, and was denied.
So far, many of you have watched the trials for the other 4 suspects. Rashad Murphy, 30, Isaiah Chance, 21, Alicia Andrews, 21, and Sean Gathright, 18. All of them charged with first-degree murder. But for a little more than 6 months, this guy managed to give the cops a slip. In fact, I can bet some of you have even forgotten there were 5 suspects, not 4. That's how good this guy got with his disappearing act.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says it found 27-year-old Davion Murphy at an apartment complex on LaBelle Street last night. Police had been looking for him for over 6 months.
So it was really a jolt seeing him being arrested by the cops at the beginning of the week. You can bet he really didn't see this one coming. My guy was probably psyched for another cool week, only to have the cops spoil things for him. But on the other hand though, you should have seen him while he was arrested. This guy was literally smiling from ear to ear. Now that's just gangster, I tell you.
JSO released this picture of him sitting on the ground smiling after his arrest yesterday evening. You can see his hands cuffed behind his back.
Now here's where the story gets even more gangster. It looks like all this time, this guy has been right inside Jacksonville. I mean, my man never even stepped out of the city limits, just holed up in an apartment for more than 6 good months. While the world was wondering where he disappeared to, Davion was actually holed up inside one apartment building right in the city. Talk about being a ghost. But on the other hand, maybe Davion was always ready for this arrest, which is understandable given how much the cops actually looked for him, as well as how he was denied bail. I mean, this was a high-profile shooting, so serious that 3 out of the other 4 guys are already being considered for the death penalty.
Well, Linda, today we learned that the state announced that it is considering the death penalty in this case.
As it stands, the prosecutors had already announced their intentions to seek the death penalty against 3 out of the 5 suspects as early as October 7th, 2024. Luckily for her, only the female suspect, Alice Andrews, is not on the list for that. Florida State Attorney Susan S. Lopez filed a motion in Hillsborough County Criminal Court announcing the state's intention to make the suspects pay the ultimate price if found guilty. The 3 suspects include Isaiah Chance, Sean Gathright, and Rashad Murphy, who are all in custody on charges, including first-degree murder conspiracy, and attempted murder. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said Davion Murphy, 27, was taken into custody with the help of his gang unit and the U.S. Marshals Service at a Jacksonville apartment complex. He was booked into the Duval County pretrial detention facility. Now, what makes all of this even messier is knowing that this is coming on the heels of Youngin Ace disbanding the ATK crew. On December 23rd, Youngin Ace took to Instagram Live for an emotional and raw venting session, officially declaring the end of ATK and airing out frustrations about his crew. It was clear he had reached a breaking point as he passionately called out his team for failing to step up when it mattered the most. His frustrations were directed at those in his circle who he felt disappeared when financial and emotional support was needed the most. Ace didn't hold back, criticizing his crew for their lack of action during difficult times, such as covering funeral costs or helping the community when they lost someone. Ace also blamed the toxic culture of social media for worsening the situation, accusing his peers of being more focused on clout than loyalty.
I put the back when I rose up to the city, and I put the city on my back. Niggas ain't nowhere to be found, man. You talking about, nigga? Niggas ain't putting in no motherfucking work. You tripping, man.
But could it be that he disbanded them because he saw what was going to happen and decided to avoid a RICO case? At least that's what some people have been asking. Some are saying Ace might be trying to distance himself from any gang ties after Foolio's death. But here's the catch. People are pointing out that it might already be too late for that. After Foolio was off, Ace didn't exactly lay low. Instead, he dropped diss tracks, gave interviews, trolling, and basically turned the situation into a media spectacle, possibly profiting off the whole thing.
Julio Foolio from Jacksonville, someone that you know, he lost his life. Where were you when you found out about that?
I was in the bed crying and shit, like, damn, niggas out here. Like, shit crazy.
You shed a tear?
Multiple.
I mean, I know you guys can get along like that, but it's like...
We best friends.
If the feds are coming, claiming you're no longer part of a gang isn't going to stop them. It doesn't help that earlier this year, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office confirmed Ace and his crew had been under constant surveillance.
So Young and Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them.
Many speculate ATK could be tied to Foolio's death, considering the violent feud between the two sides. Both camps suffered heavy losses over the years, including Ace losing his own brother. But not long after this explosive live stream, one of ATK's members, YBZ, responded through his Instagram story. He didn't hold back, letting it be known that he didn't owe anyone an explanation for how he handled things. "I don't give a F what no mother F has to say," he wrote. "Who sent something for my whole Fed bid? Who put something up for my 2 federal trial lawyers? I stood in the paint and fought with the feds. I don't give a F if I lost." YBZ's message was direct. He reminded everyone that he had endured his own struggles, losing brothers to the streets and prison, yet he never turned his back on anyone. He continued, "And what I do for anybody behind closed doors don't have to be brought up because I ain't do it for a reward or to be praised." To drive his point home, YBZ shared pictures of himself with his daughter from his time in prison, showing that, at his lowest, only his daughter was there for him. It countered Ace's claims that no one was stepping up, as YBZ implied that he too had faced abandonment but never complained about it. Meanwhile, ATK Queezer, one of the more recognized members of the crew, didn't directly address Ace's comments. Instead, he posted a cryptic message to his Instagram story that seemed like a subtle response. "They don't care about your sacrifices, only care about what you can do for them," he wrote. Fans speculated that this was aimed at Ace's accusations, with Quise possibly referring to sacrifices he made for the crew that went beyond just money. This vague post fueled even more speculation, as people believe Quise might have been speaking about personal efforts he made for ATK that weren't being acknowledged. Ace's decision to not name specific individuals left room for interpretation, causing fans and followers to assume who his criticisms were aimed at. But amid all the drama surrounding Youngin Ace's declaration that ATK is no more, some people think this might just be a strategic move to distance himself from the group. Many are speculating that Ace sees a RICO case looming on the horizon, and this is his way of trying to avoid getting caught up in it. The timing is suspicious, especially since the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has repeatedly mentioned that they've been monitoring Ace and his crew. But this situation has sparked a larger conversation about gang culture and the risks involved. People are reflecting on how many lives have been lost over gang affiliations, whether it's defending a block, a name, or even just the 3 letters ATK. Ace's sudden declaration that ATK is over has people questioning the deeper meaning behind it all. How do the families and loved ones of those who died for this crew feel about this? For someone to simply announce, "That's it, it's over," after so much bloodshed and loss. Consider how many young men have lost their lives representing ATK or standing by Youngin Ace and his music. Many of these individuals didn't even know Ace personally, but believed in the idea of loyalty to the group. And the same goes for KTA, Foolio's crew, if they ever decide to end their group. To truly grasp the depth of violence between these two groups, we need to go back. Back in 2021, there was a song that everyone on social media couldn't stop talking about, "Who I Smoke" by Youngin Ace. This track didn't just make waves, it shed light on one of the deadliest rap feuds brewing for years in Jacksonville, Florida. These Jacksonville rappers had this unique style of dropping clues about revenge kings in their music videos, often using beats from classic pop songs and layering them with some of the most sinister lyrics. Youngin Ace and his crew took Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles, flipped it completely, and filmed the video on a posh golf course, smoking cigars and dancing while the lyrics celebrated the deaths of Foolio's crew from North Jacksonville. Who I Smoke went viral almost instantly, racking up 16 million views in just a month and getting reactions from all the big influencers online.
Who I Smoke. Say it. No! Hey, Foolio, come get this.
With such a bold move from Youngin Ace, Foolio felt the need to hit back even harder. Foolio took a classic Fantasia song, remixed it, and for the music video, he printed out a massive poster of two of Ace's friends and his blood brother who had died beside Ace in a drive-by shooting outside a Japanese steakhouse. Ace was the only survivor in that car attack.
Who I Smoke came out of nowhere, went crazy, kind of made it more mainstream to where people who don't even know y'all, they were tapped into it.
I took it too far when they made a song first. Speaking, once the dead get involved, it's already too far.
From that point on, Foolio's crew and Youngin Ace's crew began a back and forth of diss tracks aimed squarely at each other, each song embedded with hidden messages and taunts. Now let's set the scene in Jacksonville, Florida, the biggest city in the continental US by land area. Florida's always been a major player in the rap scene, but Jacksonville didn't really make it to the mainstream until these viral diss tracks between two rival crews put it on the map. On one side, you've got Youngin Ace, leading the ATK gang, which mainly runs the west side of Jacksonville. On the other side, there's Foolio, the head of KTA, also known as K Them All. KTA is an alliance between Foolio's gang from the north side and another crew called Young and Reckless from the south side. It was all of this that eventually led to the shooting of Julio, and of course, the arrest of the 5 suspects. But back to the story, how this guy was actually able to stay a ghost until his arrest needs to be studied. And right within Jacksonville too. The case is just heating up though, so we can only look and see how things go. Have a nice one, guys.